Arien had always believed that life whispered to those who dared to be silent enough to hear it, and on that particular dusk, as the sun bled gold across the edges of the sky and the world seemed to hold its breath, he felt the whisper grow into a call so loud it trembled through the chambers of his heart, urging him toward a destiny far greater than anything he had ever imagined for himself, yet still terrifyingly uncertain, the kind of call that forces a person to choose between the comfort of what they know and the raw, unpredictable fire of what they might become. He stood at the edge of the old bridge that overlooked the wide valley of Arendelle, a place where the wind carried secrets of forgotten legends and long silent heroes, and he felt the weight of every dream he had buried pressing against his ribs until breathing became a battle. For years he had lived with the quiet ache of wanting more, wanting to build a life that mattered, wanting to prove to himself that he was worth something, wanting to rise above the expectations that chained him to a life of mediocrity, but every attempt he made to move forward had been swallowed by fear, doubt, and the unspoken beliefs planted in him by people who had surrendered their own dreams long ago. Tonight was different. Tonight something inside him cracked open like a dam giving way under the pressure of 1,000 storms. He remembered the words his grandmother had told him when he was young, words that had seemed like stories then but now felt like prophecy. The world does not change when you wait for the right moment, Arien. The world changes when you decide you are worthy of changing it. Those words echoed in his bones as he looked out over the valley, feeling as if the universe was leaning in, watching him, waiting for him to choose who he wanted to become. He clenched his fists, not out of anger but determination, because he knew that every step he had taken, every struggle he had endured, and every silent tear he had shed had been preparing him for something greater, even if he had been too blind to see it. The wind swept through his hair as if urging him forward, and he felt the universe itself whisper, "Move." It didn't matter that he had failed before. It didn't matter that people had laughed at his dreams. It didn't matter that the path ahead was filled with uncertainty. What mattered was that he felt the fire burning now, burning so fiercely that he knew if he didn't act, it would consume him from the inside out. So Arien took a long, slow breath, the kind that tastes like fear and hope tangled together, and stepped away from the bridge with a new resolve pulsing through him like electricity. He didn't know what he was about to do next. He didn't know where the journey would lead. He didn't even know if he would succeed. But he did know this: he could no longer remain the person he had been. He would walk forward, even if the world tried to stop him. He would rise, even if the ground trembled beneath his feet. He would fight for his place in the world, even if no one believed in him, because at that moment, he finally believed in himself. And as he walked back toward the path that would lead him into the unknown, he felt something he hadn't felt in years: possibility. Not the distant, unreachable kind, but the kind that breathed with him, moved with him, and told him that he was exactly where he needed to be. Little did Arien know that his decision to take that single step would unravel a chain of events that would challenge everything he thought he knew about life, destiny, and courage, pulling him into a story greater than any dream he had dared to dream. But for now, he walked with a heart reborn and a spirit ignited, ready to face whatever waited on the horizon, unaware that the greatest tests, and the greatest transformations, were still yet to come. And to everyone listening to this story, remember this: every great journey begins with a moment just like Arien's, a moment where you choose to rise. If you feel even a spark of that fire inside you, don't let it fade. Let it push you, let it transform you, and if you want more stories that inspire your spirit, strengthen your heart, and remind you of the power you hold within you, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because your journey is just beginning too. If you want more continuation for chapter as Arien moved beyond the shimmering heart of the ancient forest, the air thickened with a strange mixture of calm and anticipation, as though the world itself was inhaling before unleashing a storm that had been brewing for centuries, and every instinct inside him urged him to stay alert, to listen closely to the silent warnings hidden beneath the rustle of leaves and the trembling of distant branches. He felt the glowing mark on his arm pulse with a steady rhythm, almost like a heartbeat separate from his own, guiding him with a force both mysterious and reassuring, as if whispering that he was not alone, not anymore, not in this enormous landscape of forgotten magic and hidden dangers. The trees grew taller the deeper he walked, their shadows stretching across the ground like ancient guardians watching his every move, and with each step, Arien felt the weight of his purpose settle deeper into his bones, reminding him that the path he now walked could not be abandoned, not even if fear surged like waves against the shores of his courage. He remembered moments from his past, moments of doubt, of failure, of being told he wasn't good enough, and those memories rose like ghosts trying to pull him backward, but the new fire inside him burned brighter, pushing them away, reminding him that the person he once was did not have to define who he was becoming. Soon, he reached a clearing he had never seen before, a place where the sky opened wide and the ruins of an ancient stone temple lay scattered across the ground like the broken pieces of a once great kingdom. Vines climbed the crumbling walls, flowers bloomed through cracks in the stone, and the air hummed with energy so old and powerful it made Arien's skin tingle with awe. As he stepped closer, the ground beneath him vibrated gently, as if acknowledging his presence, and the mark on his arm shimmered with a stronger glow, responding to something buried within the ruins. A voice, soft yet commanding, echoed through the clearing. Though no figure appeared before him, it spoke of a prophecy long forgotten, of a looming darkness preparing to awaken, of the world crying out for someone who could stand between destruction and hope. Arien listened, his breath steady, his heart pounding, and though the voice faded as quickly as it had come, its message wrapped around him like a mantle of destiny, urging him to keep moving forward no matter how heavy the future might become. He knelt by a stone altar, tracing his fingers across carvings that told stories of brave souls who had come before him, warriors who had risen when the world teetered on the edge of chaos, who had chosen to fight not because they were fearless, but because they cared deeply, fiercely, unwaveringly. Arien felt a connection to them, as though their spirits lingered in the air, watching him, supporting him, believing in him even when he struggled to believe in himself. A sudden gust of wind swept through the clearing, carrying with it the faint echo of danger approaching, and Arien rose to his feet, understanding that his journey was no longer about discovering who he was, it was now about defending what the world could still become. He tightened his grip on the small satchel he carried, adjusted the thin cloak draped around his shoulders, and stepped beyond the ruins with a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that the challenges ahead would test every piece of his spirit, yet determined to push forward with unbroken resolve. Every hero begins with a single decision, he reminded himself, and he had already made his. And to those who hear Arien's story, to those who feel the spark of courage growing inside them as his path unfolds, remember this: your journey, too, begins with one step, one belief, one moment where you dare to rise above the doubts that try to dim your light. If this story speaks to your heart, if it lifts your spirit even a little, then make sure you subscribe to the channel, because stories like these are meant to remind you of the greatness waiting inside you, and the next chapter will take you even deeper into the fire of destiny.